Hello, welcome to the next episode of Commander Deck Building here. Today we're bringing you a really interesting one, and it's my own kind of, I think, unique build to work with Taskmaster Mercenary Mimic. I think this is one of the most interesting commanders to work with out of the Marvel set because it's very wide open as to what you might want to do with it. So let's take a look at what I'm doing with it. You could build it much meaner than what I'm doing. Um, you could be trying to discard Eldrazi and stuff like that to put in your own graveyard to copy. We're not doing that. So let's take a look at what we are doing. First and foremost, Taskmaster is a 4 mana 3/5. At the beginning of your first main phase, until your next turn, Taskmaster becomes a copy of up to one target creature on the battlefield or creature card in a graveyard. Except his name is Taskmaster, Mercenary Mimic, and he's a legendary human mercenary villain creature. So what am I aiming to do here? I'm calling this Miltron. So what we're going to do is attempt to mill our opponents out quite a bit in order to get their cards in graveyards for us to copy. At different times, depending on the game situation, this could be much better or worse, depending on your opponents. But it is pretty effective at milling, at the very least. I did not, however, include any of the instant mill out your opponent cards like Bruvac, because if you have mill doublers, it can really get nasty. And we're not looking to mill people out. We are looking to mill cards into their graveyard and use those creatures that are in their graveyard to turn Taskmaster into, and then have a bunch of equipment attached to Taskmaster and use them to put commander damage on them from a nasty Taskmaster. So, how are we going to do that? Well, first we have two Jace Planewalkers. First is Jace Beleren. It's a draw source, and it also can make someone mill 20 cards when you use the ult there. Very good. Jace Memory Adept. For 0, target player mills 10 cards. Again, very, very good. That's really all we're going to use that for. If you need draw, you can use the +1, but having a 0 make somebody mill 10 is what that's there for. Let's get stuff in the graveyard to target. Our creatures, Black Widow, Daring Operative. So I leaned into a bit of a stealing stuff kind of idea as well, because that's what Taskmaster does. He copies and steals, quote unquote, people's abilities. So Black Widow Daring Operative is a 5 mana 3/4 with Menace. When she enters, mill 3 cards. Good, let's get something in our graveyard to copy. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. It's a nice setup for a ping there. Black Widow Super Spy is a 2 mana 2/1 with Menace. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You can put a +1/+1 counter on her. We're not here for that. If you don't, you may cast the exiled non-land card until end of turn. Mana of any type can be used to cast it. We're here for that. Steal some of their stuff. Captain Garthrod, one of my favorite commanders ever. I no longer have the deck, so that card is coming into here for me. I don't have other horrors, but it'll give Captain Garthrod Menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. Cool. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Put it on the battlefield under your control. That's what it's really there for. We're not trying to build into a bunch of horrors so that we can mill out faster that way. No. We are here to be able to make people mill and then take stuff that they have milled that turn. Cruel Somnophage. Here's one of your own creatures you may want to target with Taskmaster. 2 mana XX. Power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Since we're milling a lot, that's going to be a hopefully high number. It also has a sorcery adventure to target player mills 4 cards. Great. Love adventure cards. But this is one to copy. Have Taskmaster have that power and toughness. Become even bigger as a Voltron target. Exhibition Tidecaller, a 1 mana 0/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 3 cards. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast it, that player mills 10 cards instead. I may take this one out, because I'm just looking now. There's only 11 instants and sorceries in the deck, but it's still a creature that can get some mill value here or there. Grim Reaper, Lethal Legionnaire. Whenever the Grim Reaper attacks, you may pay 4. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking with a finality counter on it. Since we may self-mill a little bit to get some stuff into the graveyard, not the worst. Guilt Feeder is a 5-mana 0/4 with Fear. Can only be blocked by artifact or black creatures. That's one we are wanting to copy, that ability. Whenever Guilt Feeder attacks and isn't blocked, defending player loses 1 life for each card in their graveyard. Chef's Kiss for a Taskmaster deck. For a Taskmaster attack, rather. Hedron Crab, one of the most well-known, as well as Ruin Crab, which is up in a second. 1 mana 0/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Sweet. Landfall Mill. And that's the same thing with Ruin Crab, except Ruin Crab does it to everybody, not target player. So Ruin Crab is slightly better because it hits everybody, but they should both be in here. Then we have Nemesis of Reason. Whenever Nemesis of Reason attacks, defending player puts the top 10 cards of his or her library into their graveyard. For a 5-mana 3/7, sweet. That's perfect. Sewer Nemesis. Sorry. As Sewer Nemesis enters the battlefield, choose a player. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player puts the top card of his or her library into their graveyard. Again, this is one for Taskmaster to copy in hopes of being a very large creature. Superior Spider-Man enters as a copy of a creature card in any graveyard, except its name is Superior Spider-Man, and he's a 4/4 spider-human hero in addition to his other types. So since we're milling a bunch of cards, and we're going to copy some of them with Taskmaster, why not have another creature that can do it? Teresian Mindbreaker is a 7-mana 6/4 Juggernaut. I love this art. It's so cool. Whenever Teresian Mindbreaker attacks, doesn't even have to land combat damage. Defending player mills half of their library, rounded up. It also has Unearth for 4. Useful if you happen to mill it, which we may. The Mind Skinner. Last time I built a Voltron mill deck, this was the commander. And everybody hated it, so I took it apart. But nobody wanted to play against it. It won too fast. It was nasty mill. It was gross. It was fun to play, but, a double strike Mind Skinner's kind of gross. What the Mind Skinner says is it is a 10/1 for 3. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. Also, Mind Skinner can't be blocked. So this is a fun one, say, if it's in your own graveyard, to copy with Taskmaster. I don't like to leave this on as a permanent effect, necessarily. I would prefer Mind Skinner be in my graveyard as opposed to the battlefield. Because then I can copy it with Taskmaster, mill a bunch of cards out, and then next turn I have a bunch of cool stuff to copy, hopefully. Afterlife from the Loam is our first sorcery. You can delve, which is nice in a thing where we're going to mill ourselves a little bit too. So for each player, choose up to 1 target creature card in that player's graveyard, put them on the battlefield under your control, and they also become zombies. So the delve cost makes this a lot easier to cast, so we get some creatures out. Behold the Sinister Six. This is just if we happen to mill ourselves too much or have a bunch of creatures removed, because a lot of people really don't like the creatures in mill decks. We can get some of them back onto the battlefield and keep milling people down. Dream Harvest, a 7-mana sorcery. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they have exiled cards with total mana value 5 or greater this way. Until end of turn, you may cast those cards without paying their mana cost. We're stealing. This is a steal thing. And it's also thinning their libraries. Very good way to steal. Anytime you tell me I can cast 3 spells from my opponents, love it in this deck. Grasping Tentacles is a 3-mana sorcery. Target opponent mills 8 cards. You may put an artifact card from a player's graveyard on the battlefield under your control. So you just target any other player that's in the game that's playing an artifact deck. And hopefully get something useful. Maybe you get a Soul Ring. Maybe you get a Sword of Fire and Ice. Who knows? Maddening Cacophony. 2-mana sorcery with Kicker 4. Each opponent mills 8 cards. If the spell was kicked, each opponent mills half their library rounded up. Again, we're milling. This is one of the most commonly known mill cards, and with Brewvac, it's a win condition card, but in this case, we're just putting a lot of cards into graveyards for us to copy. Reanimate, yeah. Target creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield under your control lose life equal to his mana value. We're putting a lot of stuff in graveyards. We're going to want stuff from those graveyards. Singularity Rupture is a 6-mana sorcery. Destroy all creatures. Then any number of target players, each mill half their library rounded down. Well, in this scenario, this is somebody has just removed your board, right? Your board has been decimated by a Blasphemous Act, let's say. And you're like, well, I'm going to have to rebuild, and I want stuff to copy when Taskmaster's back out. Here it is. It's just a little recuperating thing and to catch you back up if you meet a lot of removal. Brain Freeze. 2-mana instant, target player mills 3 cards with Storm. So you can, however many spells you cast that turn, do it again. Again, just a simple mill card. Counter spells, counterspell. Hide on the Ceiling. Exile X target artifacts and or creatures. Return them to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Just a way to avoid a Void Wipe, or say a Vandal Blast, something like that. You're going to want to avoid those. This is a way to do that. Kitsune's Technique. A 6-mana instant with Sneak 2. You may cast it. What Sneak is you can cast the spell for 2. If you also return an unblocked attacker you control to hand during the Declare Blocker step. So if we have Brotherhood Regalia and we equip it to something, we could cast this for 2 and have target opponent mill half their library. Pretty good. Then we move into the Voltron side. Adaptive Omni Tool. +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Whenever it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact from among them and put it into your hand. Pretty cool. Altar of the Brood is a mill artifact. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under my control, each opponent puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. Beautiful. Arcane Signet, simple. Basilisk Collar's Death Touch Lifelink, simple. Blackblade Reforged, 2-mana, equip 3 for Legendary, which is the only target we're going to use for that. Equip creature gets +1/+1 for each land. Just a pretty good big stick to swing. This is Hammer of Nazan. It's a 4-mana equip 4, but it equips automatically when it enters. And anytime another equipment you control enters, you can attach it for free. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Indestructible. Pretty good. Brotherhood Regalia. Equipped creature has Ward 2, is an assassin, and can't be blocked. Equips for 1 for a 2-mana equipment there. Pretty good. Captain America's Shield. Equipped creature gets +0/+8 and Vigilance. This is an indestructible artifact as well. Whenever they attack, tap target creature they control. Pretty good if you're trying to get through on somebody that has a scary defender. This is Umezawa's Jite. I just have the Clouds Buster Sword version, personally. So Umezawa's Jite says, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage of any sort, not just to a player, put 2 charge counters on Clouds Buster Sword. You can remove a charge counter to give equipped creature +2/+2 until end of turn, or target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, or you can gain 2 life. Just a very, very great utility equipment. Colossus Hammer. It's 1 for equip 8. Equip creature gets +10/+10 and loses flying. Obviously good, especially if you have ways like Hammer of Nazan to cheat the equip cost. Death Render. A less common equipment, that says equipped creature gets +2/+2. Whenever equipped creature is put into a graveyard from play, you may put a creature card from your hand into play and attach Death Render to it. Just a pretty nice cycling to say, well, that one's gone. Let's put another one out. Falcon's Wing Harness. When it enters, it attaches for free. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, flying, and ward 1. Pretty good. Genji Glove. It's a 5 mana, equip 3. Equipped creature has double strike. Whenever they attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap it. After this, there's an additional combat phase. Beautiful. Helm of the Host makes non-legendary copies that get haste. So now we have lots of stuff in graveyards to copy, and perhaps several Taskmasters that can copy them. Pretty cool. Leyline Axe. If it's in your opening hand, you can begin with it on the battlefield. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, double strike, and trample with equip 3. This is actually, it's so much better than it gets credit for. You can see it's a $3 equipment. I gotta tell you, this has won me several games because double strike and trample with something that can be out early, so great. Mind Crank. If you've ever run into mill decks or a Mothman, you're familiar with this card. Whenever an opponent loses life, that player puts that many cards from the top of his or her library into their graveyard. Yep. Gross. This goes especially nuts in a Mothman deck. It almost combos itself with rad counters. It's nice. Mjolnir Stormhammer. Whenever Mjolnir enters the battlefield, it attaches for free. Whenever equipped creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls and put a stun counter on it. Then, Mjolnir deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of tapped creatures that opponent controls. Oh, hey, the go wide token deck just swung out with 23 creatures and killed one of my opponents. Uh-oh. You get the idea. Panther Habit is a new 4 mana equip 2 equipment that says if equipped creature would be dealt damage, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Gross. Just so good. The River Churn Monument is a 2 mana artifact. Pay 1 and tap it any number of target players, each mill 2 cards. Pretty cool. But you can exhaust it for 4 and any number of target players, each mill cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. This is our mill out win condition. So what I mean by that is, if we've just cast a Maddening Cacophony, kicked, and then we manage to pull off the exhaust, we win the game. That's just how it goes. Rocket-powered Goblin Glider, if it was cast from your graveyard, because it has Mayhem 2, it can be done. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, has flying and haste. Pretty sweet, especially if you're trying to rebuild a bit. To get haste back on your commander. It's pretty good. Shadow Spear. It's been around. Super, super, super good equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, trample, and lifelink. You can pay 1 and permanence your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Beautiful. Especially, again, if somebody has a particularly nasty indestructible blocker that's standing in your way that they wouldn't want to block with if it wasn't indestructible. Pretty good. Skybreaker, Sword of Bashenga, is Sword of the Animist. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. When they attack, you may search the library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Pretty simple ramp, which in Dimir is very limited. Soul Ring, yep. Sword of Kaldra. Equipped creature gets +5/+5 for 4 mana and equip 4, of course. Whenever a equipped creature deals damage to a creature, remove that creature from the game. That means exile it. So if they block, the creature gets exiled. And it's likely not going to kill the creature you have because it has +5/+5. Very, very good at discouraging blocks that aren't, when a damage wouldn't be lethal. Sword of Wealth and Power. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from instants and sorceries. Very good. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Sweet. Whenever you next cast an instant or sorcery, you can copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is great if you're going to follow it up with, like, Maddening Cacophony. You know, that kind of thing. Talisman of Dominance, pretty simple. Key to the Vault, one of my favorite equipments. It's a 2 mana, equip 3. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may exile a non-land card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. Great. I love cheating costs. The Water Crystal. Blue spells cost 1 less. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill that many plus 4 instead. And then for 6 mana, each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. That one's okay, but the extra 4 on any mill is good. Unstable Molecule Suits, another new equipment. For 3 mana, equip 2 to your commander, which is mostly what we're going to do. Equip creature gets +2/+2 and indestructible. Pretty good. Nothing crazy there, but good. Another new equipment is Vibranium Strike Gauntlets. 4 mana with Flash and equip 3. When it enters, it attaches to a creature you control. They get +3/+0 and trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Pretty good. Here's another fun win condition. Vorpal Sword, 1 black. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Death Touch. At instant speed, if you have 8 mana up and they are letting the creature with Vorpal Sword on them hit them, or if you have a way that Vorpal Sword can't be blocked, or that creature can't be blocked. Until end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Whew, love it. Normally don't like to run that, but in a mill deck where I'm already getting all the hate anyways, hey man, whatever. Fraying Sanity is our first enchantment. A 3 mana curse. Enchant player. At the beginning of each end step, enchanted player mills X cards, where X is the number of cards put into the graveyard from anywhere this turn. Another good follow-up to Maddening Cacophony. If you have just kicked it and you had enough mana, or say you ulted Jace Beleren to target player mills 20 cards, that becomes 40, or target player mills 10 cards, that becomes 20. It's pretty good. Imposter Syndrome. Whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's not legendary. That's a copy of it. Just pretty good. More Taskmasters to copy more things. One ring to rule them all, our only saga. The first step says, the ring tempts you. Then each player mills cards equal to your ring bearer's power. In a Voltron deck, that might be quite a few. The second step destroys all non-legendary creatures. Pretty cool. But more importantly, step 3 says each opponent loses 1 life for each creature card in their graveyard. Ooh, love it. Ripples of Undeath is both a self-mill card and a Find What I Need card. So at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, mill 3 cards. Then you may pay 1 and 3 life. If you do, put a card from among them into your hand. Very, very good. And then we have a standard 37 land build there. Well, this is the Taskmaster Miltron deck. I have not yet played this deck, actually. I have test played it, but it's very hard to test play a mill deck. I plan on playing this today for the first time and seeing how it goes. Yes, it's going to make things rather salty, but you just have to accept both Voltron and Mill make people salty. Let's do both. Fuck it. So that's what we're doing. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the others that are there, and we'll see you next time.